Hello everybody, it's Silvana. I thought today we might do a video for the AuthorTube Nooby Tag. I know I've made a couple of AuthorTube videos already, and I haven't done the tag yet, and I figured since it's still early in this process that that's what we could do today. So I've got the questions here. Unfortunately, there's not a lot interesting to look at for this. So you'll have to look at my desktop image there. So the first question is, how did you find AuthorTube? So I watch a couple different people vlog about writing in general, but the first person I saw really talking about AuthorTube and Camp NaNoWriMo and things like that was Kate Kavanaugh. So I would have to say that's who. What genres do I write in? I write a little bit of horror, a little bit of fantasy. I've written some erotica, and some poetry. So a little bit of I'm all over the map. What is your preferred tense, point of view, or category to write in? Preferred tense right now for the project I'm in is definitely past tense. Most of the novels I intend to write will more than likely be in past tense. It just, I don't know. Present tense on a story, usually I take that to limit the point of view to the main character, and that's difficult to write. In my opinion, that's difficult to write because then you can't know what else is going on in other places, or you have to flip between the point of view of characters, and having multiple voices, meaning point of view voices in your narrative, can be difficult to write. So I just find that writing in the past tense as an observer sort of in a God position is better for the story. You can see what else is going on, but it doesn't give you that peek behind the scenes until it's time for that. Okay, next question. Are you a plotter, a pantser, or a plantser? So let's talk about those terms first. So are you a plotter? A plotter is someone who plots out their novel. They might write an outline. They probably write an outline, probably a detailed outline, and they know everything before they sit down writing it. Are you a pantser? So what a pantser is someone who flies by the seat of their pants. You have a general idea, maybe, where the story is going, maybe not, and you discover it on your way through. Are you a plantser? You have enough of a plot to know, like, some high points in your story, but not very detailed, and some things may come from left field. So for me, I would definitely say I'm a plantser. I know the general high points of where my story is going to go, but I don't necessarily know always how I'm going to, always. I definitely don't know half the time or more how I'm getting from point A to point B. So I would say plantser. Are you self-published, traditionally published, or not published at all? Um, I have 2 poems professionally published in an anthology. I have my erotica, which is a piece of poo, and all of about 11 pages, I believe, self-published on the Kindle store. And I don't have any novels published in any way. I have yet to finish one. Who reps you, or who do you want to rep you? Obviously, like I said, um, the poetry I have published, I didn't go through a representative to get that done. There was a contest for that I won, and the winners of the contest got published. So I didn't need a representative for that. I also didn't get paid anything for that. I won a cool plaque, and that was about it. Well, and my work published, obviously. For the self-published, I did it through the Kindle publishing, so I didn't need a rep for that. So I'll go with, who do you want to rep? I haven't really thought too far on that, to be honest with you. For a long time, I thought seriously about Viking, and I'll get into why I thought what I thought later, because that question's coming up. Or Del Rey, maybe. Now, at this stage, with my age, I don't really care who reps me, so long as I get published. What kind of videos dealing with AuthorTube can we expect to see on your channel? Well, videos like this, of course, mostly things about writing, my process, what I'm writing, the problems that I come to. The next video I plan to write is going to be about editing. Not that I'm in, well, I don't want to go too far there, but just general stuff about writing. I'm not a published author, so I'm not the voice of experience on this, obviously. I know a lot about some other authors' process due to reading their stuff, but I just, just general writing stuff. When did you start writing? Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at that. I would say school. I started writing my own stories for myself while I was still in junior high, maybe the beginning of high school. What was the first story you wrote? Well, again, that's going to depend on how you define first story you wrote. So I'm going to split that question up a little bit. So I play, or at least I used to, I still do sometimes, I play a lot of D&D. And if you're the game master or dungeon master, depending on how old school you are, your terminology for that person may be a little different. Part of being that is writing the story of the adventure, or at least with the friends that I played with. We rarely would buy pre-made manuals or pre-made adventures. So you would have to write your own hook, your own story. You had to go on an epic adventure, and you had to think what that epic adventure was up. So I did that in junior high. Actual, once upon a time kind of story. A couple short stories when I was in school. I've tried to write the stories that I'm trying to write right now. Well, the one I'm writing now, and a couple other ones that I plan to write yet. Over the years, since about midway through high school or so, I get to varying degrees of completion, and gets absolutely stuck where I can't write anymore, or I lose the manuscript in some way, and so it never gets finished. Knock on wood that this time is different. Who is your inspiration? Well, I don't think it's going to be a big surprise that Stephen King is a huge inspiration for me. Um, he was a poor guy. He didn't think his first book was worth a hill of beans until his wife saved it for him. I don't have children and I don't have a drinking or a drug problem like he got. But I think my writing inspiration, big time King, also J.K. Rowling. Same reason, same kind of story. She was, kind of broke, single mom, um, living at the barest ends of her means, and had the idea for Harry Potter, and it came to her almost basically at once, and she just took the time and sat down and wrote it. So those two, because their history is similar to mine in economic speaking terms. Um, I am also inspired, though they're not a writer, by Mary Borgstrom. She is, or she was, a potter. She made pottery. And she didn't start making pottery until she was around 50 or so. And she's she's quasi famous. She's from Canada, and some of her pieces are in museums. Um, she had a really unique way of making pottery and a design of pottery. So I find inspiration in that, because though I've tried to write these stories many times, I have not yet done so. And J.K. and King were both, compared to where I am speaking, especially King, was quite young when he first got published. He was in his early to mid 20s, and J.K., I believe she was in her early to mid 30s, and I'm past that by at least 10 years. So I do get inspired by people who had a really interesting and great career but didn't get started until much later in life, because that's where I'm at now. Do you schedule your writing? Mm, to a degree, yes. Um, I live with my husband and a roommate, so I do try to schedule my writing to when the house is empty. I also try to give myself a goal for my writing, what I call a high goal and what I call a low goal. Here, let me pull up my manuscript real quick, and I'll show you what I mean by that and how I keep track of that. Um, so this is my file on Scrivener, and on here you can do project targets. And so 1600 is my high goal. My low goal is 500 words. So long as each day I write, I'm somewhere between 500 and 1600 words, I'm happy. If I do like I did the other day and the words are flowing really well and I get to 1900 words, 2000 words, all the better. It helps make up for those days where it was only 500 or 600 words. But Actual schedule like a particular time. I'm gonna sit down and start writing at blah 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 time until blah 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 time. No, I just while I have time and I just don't work well with that kind of structure. How do you write? Oh, I shortcutted this question and had to think about what that question was actually asking me. So, do you write on the computer, typewriter, handwrite? Um, all of it? I don't have a typewriter, so I can't say all of that. But I I handwrite if I'm away from the computer and I have an idea. I'll jot it down on paper or I'll type it to myself in a message on my phone. Um, Especially poetry for whatever reason. I find writing poetry by hand on paper works better than doing it on the computer. Now, once I write it, I'll put it on the computer to, put it on Facebook or somewhere else like that. But actual writing my book, mostly on computer, but I'm not above writing by hand or on my phone. What are you looking forward to as being part of AuthorTube? Well, what I look forward to the most for this is just, um, well, like kinship, I guess. I like seeing other people talk about their process because it helps inspire me. Not like, ooh, I should write about that kind of inspiration, but that pumped upness. Like, ooh, they're writing. What they're writing about sounds really interesting. I should write mine type thing. And, you know, maybe getting to where I'm kind of friends with some of the AuthorTube community. So I have other people who write, whether they're published or not, that I can talk to about certain issues when it comes to writing. Also, I hope to be educational, at least to some degree, to people who write or who watch my channel. That I do this in such a way, I'm never going to be able, I don't know any author that's really able to sit down and explain, to write a book, you sit down and you do step A, and then you do step B, and then you do step C. I mean, they're going to tell you stuff if you go looking around the web, whether it's on YouTube or other places, and go looking at your favorite author. They probably have an interview, a video, a book, something of that nature that explains their process of writing, how they get an idea, what kind of schedule they keep, if they have any kind of certain um, rituals. I hate using that word, but I really can't think of a better one. Before they write, like, they got to get a cup of coffee and it's got to sit in a particular spot, or writers, and I don't mean that in a superstitious kind of way, although maybe a little. I noticed as I've read through a couple different writers talking about how they write. King talks about it a lot in his afterwards. He also has a book called On Writing that he talks about the craft of writing a novel. Piers Anthony talks about his method of writing in his afterwords as well. J.K. has talked at length on her website and in interviews about her process of writing. I mean, they'll tell you, I used to go, or I do go, and I'll write these many words, or I'll write for this long, or I'll write, and usually behind that is I'll write in this spot, and, in this way, whatever that might be. So to me, that's kind of, not only is that a schedule, but that's a ritual that you write in a particular spot. I believe, I'd have to double check, but I believe with like JK that she said that she sat at a particular table at her local, basically Starbucks, and wrote there for a good majority of at least the first book or two of Harry Potter. That's, seems kind of odd to write in such a public space to me. But if you've got, if you're doing it in a notebook or a laptop, sure, King used to write on a specific kind of typewriter. I want to tell you that it's an Underwood or a Royal, and I'm leaning more toward a Royal, but don't quote me on that. And that he wrote, no other kind of typewriter would do. And is there an actual logical reason for that? He would probably tell you that there was, but reality would tell you that no. A typewriter is a typewriter is a typewriter. They type all the same. But when it comes to things like that, when you're dealing with creativity, the creative mind grasps things in certain ways. And in those same ways, things have to be just right. And if things aren't quite right, some writers will find that either they cannot write at all, or they write, in their wording, garbage or trash. It's not their best work. It's not even good work. And they'll have to either highly edit it, or they'll have to just shit can it because it's that bad. So I want to thank you guys for watching. As always, if you have any other questions that I haven't got into yet and you want to know, feel free to reach out to me on Snapchat, Twitter. I don't think I have I have Instagram. Here in the comments, and post your questions. I'm more than willing to answer them. And I hope that you guys enjoyed the video and that you have a really great day.